Welcome inside our Coaches Mentoring Moment. I'm Meghan Triplett, and we are here to have a powerful discussion on the importance of mentoring. And I am joined by two amazing head coaches. I'll start with the Memphis Grizzlies head coach, Taylor Jenkins, and Milwaukee Bucks head coach, Mike Budenholzer. And these two need no introduction because you all have such an amazing relationship. And what makes that so special is that, Coach Jenkins, you consider Coach Bud your mentor. First, just start off with telling me what makes Coach Bud so special and how did you start that mentor relationship?
I mean, it's pretty easy to talk about. I say there's a long journey, a lot of years, but to me, it started with care and belief. When I started in the Spurs organization, I was kind of a fly on the wall, just trying to learn the ropes, learn about the NBA, carve my own career. I didn't know what direction I was going. Was it front office? Was it coaching? But he had his eye on me. He saw from afar, hopefully someone that worked hard and cared about becoming a coach one day. And, when he ultimately hired me to join him in Atlanta, he immediately put his arm around me and said, basically, in other words, I care about you and I believe in you. And he gave me so much responsibility and really just kind of took my pathway to becoming a young coach even to a greater coach. But the amount of time he spent in just talking to me about the little things, the big things, whether it was basketball or life, it started with just care. Like, he really, in order for the team to be successful, for him to be a successful head coach, he understood for his assistants to be great coaches as well. So he poured so much into us. The care factor was unbelievable, but there was a belief early on. He took a gamble on a guy to help him build a program in Atlanta. And he said, I believe in, Taylor Jenkins to be one of my assistants. And, hopefully he can help me become a better head coach and our team become a better team.
And Coach Bud, to hear Coach Jenkins say that it really started with finding that and seeing that belief. What did you see in Coach Jenkins many years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's to steal some of his words. I saw somebody who cared, about whatever it is we were doing, the attention to detail and the care factor that went into everything we did. And, there was summer, we both have a passion for open gym, and, you're a young assistant coach, or I'm the young assistant coach back then. And, you're grabbing people who can help your basket, function at a high level, be organized, good energy, smart, creative ideas. And I was like, man, this guy is a keeper. So I wanted to keep him at my basket. And then I knew if I ever became a head coach, it's like, I want that guy on my staff. And, I think the unique thing about Taylor is, for me personally, is I needed somebody that I could trust, that could keep me organized, that could take, the vision that we had for a program and running, something and building something together. I trusted him to the nth degree. I believed in him to the nth degree. And, I knew the care factor was off the charts. The intelligence was off the charts. And so it was so much fun. It was really, you get the head coaching job and you're like, okay, I know who's going to be on my staff, and you put it together, and to see how Taylor's grown and where he is now, and to think where we were back in that open gym on a corner basket, trying to get guys extra shots and grow and develop players and put time and energy into, the growth of players, ultimately. So it's been fun to watch him go from the video room and front office coaching, and for him to stick his hand up and say, I want to coach, this is what I want to do. And then to watch the guy just make it happen, and to feel like you were a part of that is very, very special.
And what makes it so special, and it's so clear and evident right here today, is that with mentoring, it's all about the connection and the relationship. And that is something that has been a huge topic of conversation, especially right now because of the pandemic. And it's been a sense of urgency to have that relationship, particularly with the youth. Coach Bud, I'll start with you. When it comes to the youth, how much of an importance and an urgency is it to really reconnect and find those positive relationships right now?
Yeah, I think it's critical. And I think that hopefully we're returning to closer to normal times, and where, mentors and mentees can be together, and whether it's sports or the arts or whatever it is that people have interest in, and you can connect and you can touch people and you can be in the same room and they can feel your energy, and you can move them and they can move you. And I think that human interaction, that human touch, that happens, as we move forward and move back to normal times, is huge. We talk about touching people all the time, and that's, what a mentor can do for, literally, but also figuratively, but also literally. So I think it's huge for our youth to feel us and to know how much we care about them and how much we want them to grow and eventually take the future for us.
Coach Jenkins, what would you say?
Yeah, we've got to make up for lost time. Coach Bud just said it is absolutely critical. I think back to, my journey in life and all the different mentors, whether it was in my coaching career, it was my educational career, it was just in my youthful years. And just knowing that it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are, you can be a mentor, you can be a mentee. But understanding all of us adults, looking back into our childhood years and understanding those are the most influential years of your life. Whether it's in school, it's in extracurricular activities, it's in, your churches, wherever it is in your communities, not having that interaction, as Coach Bud was talking about, in schools, on sports teams, in art clubs, in community groups. Those are pivotal opportunities to help the younger generations grow and become their own. Individually and how they want to live their life and how they're going to be growing up on their own in a larger community in itself. I think about my own kids and understand, the lost opportunities that, they didn't have during this pandemic. So there needs to be a call to action, that all of us that, everyone's been struggling during the pandemic and, it's been a huge challenge. But, I think about the youth a lot, and I talk to other parents or other, community leaders and understand how are we going to get the youth in our community back at it. How are we going to get them back in the classroom? How are we going to get them back on the playing field? How are we going to get those relationships building? Because the pandemic took us apart. We had to stand together but alone. So we've got to kind of change that narrative and understand that we have a responsibility to pour back into, boys and girls that, didn't have those opportunities that are necessities. It's necessary for them to grow and become young men and young women that then it's their turn to become the mentors down the road. So setting that example is something that I think is a great opportunity now, as Coach Bud said, getting back to normal times. Well, in normal times, a great expectation of all of us and responsibility is to give back. And there's so many different ways to do that. But one of it is just putting your arm around someone, caring for them, knowing all the tough times that people are going through. But we definitely got to start with the youth and build from there.
And something that we've seen you guys both put your arms around your own team and your own staff, and you both had to deal with mentoring staff and players during the pandemic. How did you navigate that? I'll start with you, Coach Jenkins.
You had to get creative. There wasn't one set way to navigate this pandemic. Everyone kept saying it's an unknown. Obviously, we have our strategies, and we try to have our expertise on a normal basis. How are we going to mentor a player, mentor coach, mentor staff? But this, created a big curveball. Being at home, obviously virtually, it was great to interact, just picking up the phone, sending text messages. And at the end of it, what I decided was, we'll figure out the basketball whenever the NBA kicks back up and the season starts. But am I showing at the core of who we are, human to human, teammate to teammate, that I just care for you? How things going? How's your family doing? What do you got going on? What interests? What new hobbies are you picking it up? Because I'm struggling with the same things. And it can be reverse effect, as much as you're reaching out through the laptop or, the FaceTime or the phone or the text, you're going to feel that love, hopefully, and that care on the other side, because people are reaching out to you. And I think that was a great creative opportunity. I was having Zoom sessions with our coaching staff going, what should we do and what shouldn't we do? And there was a lot of blank moments. Let's try this, let's try that. At the end of the day, let's just try to get people together and just rally around each other so that when we did get back together, we were just picking up where we left off. But everyone understood we weren't alone. We were together, and that tight-knit community that we try to build here in Memphis, stayed the same.
And Coach Bo, what did you have to go through, especially in Milwaukee with your team?
Yeah, I think that I think both of us and probably every team preaches that togetherness, and the more things we can do together, the more we can be together, and together is a recurring theme, and all of a sudden that's been taken away from you to some degree, so you try and find ways to create some togetherness, and whether it's Zoom and technology, and maybe it's just one-on-one phone calls or texting, and I think it was. And I think sometimes you try and just turn a negative into a positive, or turn something that's hard into something that, and I think, everybody had opportunities to dive into their families and maybe spend more time with your own children, that maybe, that mentor-mentee relationship is maybe not talked about enough too. And so the pandemic, I think for some coaches, some players, all of a sudden you had more time with your family than you'd ever had before. And to share those stories and to think about what it's like to have however many meals and dinners and conversations and do puzzles or whatever the heck your family was doing. It was, there's always opportunities, no matter what the circumstances are, to try and build and, continue to, whether it's a staff or family and things like that. I think all those things were talked about and tried to navigate during the pandemic.
And I have to say, because I know a lot of fans want me to mention this, you were a mentor and you led your team to the first championship in over 50 years. What characteristics stood out from last season that you would say was so pivotal?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the leadership on the team has grown and evolved to a place where I think that's one of the things that stands out. If you've won a championship, you probably have a really good team. You have a lot of talent, some players that are just, very special and very gifted. So I think that's like an assumption. But then, when you have players that are that talented and then they start taking on leadership, they start taking on ownership, and there's timeouts that, I remember with whether it be a Drew or a Chris or a Giannis standing up and talking to the team. And, we went through some adversity. We were down in I think felt like every series. And so, to find a way to have that resilience, to kind of, keep the belief, keep the focus. And, but I think the leadership of our group really stood out to me, how Giannis and Chris in particular have been together for a long time, and the trust they have with each other, the belief they have in each other, and the belief they have in the group. I think that's how you get to an NBA Finals, and we were fortunate enough to win a championship. Just a ton of credit to Chris and Giannis leading us.
And Coach Jenkins, to see your mentor have that championship trophy, what was it like to witness?
Oh, it was special. The relationships and bonds with Coach Bud, the fellow coaches, the players that I got to, share, players 1 year with, but many years with the coaching staff. It was special because all the things that he was just talking about, there's a commitment to each other. I'm not sitting here as a head coach in the NBA without Bud's commitment to me, without the fellow coaches, the entire staff's commitment to me, but also hopefully my commitment to them. And as we're trying to build here, I'm picking, always little nuggets, from Bud all the time. But that's what we're trying to do here, is create an environment where people are committed to each other. It's the players with each other, it's the players to the staff, it's our coaches to our staff, and vice versa, all around, so that you're able to challenge each other, you're able to uplift each other through the good times and the bad times, because we're a team. It's the Milwaukee Bucks won the championship. Hopefully one day it's the Memphis Grizzlies win the championship. It's not me. It's the entire team. It's the entire organization. It's the entire city. So when we can all, have a commitment to each other every single day through the ups and the downs, to have those tough conversations, to really challenge and uplift each other. That's what we talk about all the time. Then you're going to have that drive. You're going to have that motivation. Hopefully everything lines up. You can be on top at the end of the day. But when I saw them hoisting the trophy, I was so happy, shed a couple of tears because of the care factor they had for me, and vice versa. I knew it was a very special moment that, I was happy to celebrate for them.
One of the greatest voicemails of all time.
Was it?
Yeah, I think singing, screaming.
Oh, yeah.
Singing.
A little bit of everything. Yeah, I'm sure he won't sing for anybody else, but.
Yeah, a little rendition of "We Are the Champions" had to get sent out to these guys. So
did you save the voicemail?
I'm 99% sure it's there. There's a couple that are saved, and that is one of them. So it was actually one of the greatest things. Everybody talks about the voicemails and the messages you get, and Taylor's creative to begin with, and Taylor always brings it. And so yeah, that I will share for this conversation. One of the greatest voicemails of all time, for sure.
Nice. Something you just said, Coach Jenkins, that because you guys both work for organizations that do so much in the community, and something you just said, though, is it doesn't just take teams and players and coaches staff, it also takes the city. What type of impact and what message do you want to tell fans on what they can do to help out that city and to help out the mission to get out there and mentor?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, we've learned, through our journey and our different stops, and the mentors that I've had, mentors that Coach Bud has had, is we're bigger than basketball. and when you take a step back and process that as a coach or as a player or a member of a community, obviously in the NBA, you may move around and be in different markets, but, wherever your home is in that season, you have a great opportunity to make a difference. I've heard coaches talk about this and players talk about, when I leave the league one day, I'm retired, I want to make the league better than when I first came in. Well, I think we have a responsibility just as humans and members of our community to make our communities better every single year, every single day, no matter where our life trajectory takes us. So can we leave our families in a better place, when our time comes? Can we leave our communities in a better place? So I implore everybody, it doesn't matter what your profession is, what your age is, to take a moment to take a step back and go, how can I give of myself? But the great thing is hopefully there are others that are giving to you that you feel that responsibility to even give more, because in my experiences, when people have poured love and care and belief into me, and then I've hopefully done the same for somebody else, a group of people, or just one individual, my blood boils, my heart, pumps even more. I feel even much more joy, and that just creates a stronger connection. And we always talk about, just from a pure basketball standpoint, the energy we have in our own building here in FedEx Forum. You feel that love and that support on a nightly basis. So that same joy can be created in other ways by just going out and helping someone, putting your arm around them, caring for them. And you can do it in a lot of different ways. So, that connection that you can build in your own community, it's a great individual responsibility.
Coach Bud, to not just Milwaukee fans, but NBA fans just in general who want to do more, what would be your message to them?
Yeah, get out and do it. There's nothing like, I think diving into something, getting involved. There are so many opportunities. There's so many great groups in the city of Milwaukee, all across the country. I think it's just, kind of putting your hand up and saying, I want to help. And, no matter, how small or big it is, no matter who you are, you can make a difference in people's lives. And I think it makes a difference in your life. It just goes both ways. There's so many good things that are happening, paying it forward, backward. So there's so many great organizations to join and participate with, and you can have a big impact, in people's lives, and that's what you want to do.
And there's so many programs that both teams that you both work for have so many initiatives and so many programs. What is it like, and how important is it for companies and businesses to also, step into the ring and help out?
It's huge. I think, just in creating that, excitement, company-wide, and obviously, the resources that are at your disposal, the greatest one is people and time. So really creating an environment where you implore, all your employees to get out there, and make a difference. But, hopefully, being a part of so many different NBA organizations, you feel the tight-knit connections with the community. It's a springboard to do more. So, organizations, are phenomenal supporters, sponsors of teams. But as Coach Bud said, there's so many groups, there's so many endeavors in initiatives, but also need in the community, and the stamp that you can have when your organization's base is in a city, the outreach that you can have, with your employees, with your brand, with your name, it creates awareness. So I think the more that can be just, spread out through the communities, it can gain so much traction and make a huge difference.
And Coach Bud, when we heard Coach Jenkins talk about how you're such a special mentor to him, could you imagine life without the mentors that you've had in your life?
No, none of us get to where we are without a ton of help. So there's been so many amazing mentors in my life, and I go back to, it's the high school coaches in a lot of ways stand out to me the most, even Little League coaches. Getting a text from your Little League coach after you have success is pretty cool, and telling him I wouldn't be where I am today without you. So it's Little League is starts when you're 8 years old. So, if you're involved in sports and athletics, it just feels like so many of your mentors are your coaches, but even in the classroom and in church, and there's so many different places where, we were guided. I was guided in a path that, led to me being able to be a head coach in the NBA. And I look back on it, I'm like, how did this happen? And it happened because of all those people. So I'm incredibly grateful. I have a father that was a coach, so that was, when your mentor's in your house, that helps a lot too. And, so yeah, a lot of great people in my life that helped me get to where I am today.
This conversation has been so moving and so powerful. And I want to end with a call to action, even though I think the whole entire thing has been a call to
Yeah.
action. So, Coach Jenkins, I'll start with you. What do you want to challenge those who are listening right now to do?
I just challenge everyone. I think I said it earlier, but make a difference. You have the power to make a difference. Doesn't matter if it seems overwhelming. It's a big ask. It's a little ask. I say this all the time. Like, if you can make an impact in just one person's life, you've done wonders for this world, because hopefully then that person feels that love and that care, that then they want to take on that responsibility of reaching out to one person or maybe two people. But we all are mentors inside. We just got to find that willingness to do it. I'm a big believer. You got to find what you're passionate about, discover what your passion is in life, and then use your love for that passion to share that with someone else that may have the same passion, but maybe struggling to figure out, how do I break through? How do I get there? How do I navigate my pathway, whether it's career or personal life? You have tons of wealth of experience. You have a big heart that's buried in there. Someone else just has to see it. And, if you can pour the time and the energy into that, you're going to make a world of difference that'll then just go from generation to generation.
And Coach Butt, what is your challenge?
Yeah, get out there and make a difference. Everything that Taylor just talked about. I think the thing that stands out to me is, what you have passion for is something that you can probably move people with, and helping the youth find what their passion is. And I think that's one of the big keys to life. And, take your passion, share it with others, and help them find their passion.
You know what? That's the best way to close this all up. I want to thank the Memphis Grizzlies, the Milwaukee Bucks, Coach Jenkins, Coach Budenholzer. Thank you so much for sharing your relationship and for the impact and the work that you are doing and will continue to do. And thank you for those challenges. For more information, go to grizzliesfoundation.org and also milwaukeementor.com.